Liam, glad to be back at your trusty Premier Division level.
Oh, big time, yeah. Obviously getting the opportunity in the off season. I knew once John rang me and spoke to me that the chance was there. Then I was definitely wanting to come back. So delighted with the chance, and obviously the way things have been going. It's been a good start for us. But we just need to keep building on that now.
Were you surprised by the start?
I wasn't really. I think a lot of people outside of Cork probably looked down and said, "Oh, they've only got a small squad." John was coming in; he was new to managing in the Electricity League. But I think we all knew, we've been working very hard in pre-season, and we've got a great mix of young players, old players. I think the combination is helping, gel the squad together very well. And I think the results that we were getting was down to the hard work that we did in pre-season. And as I said, we need to maintain that now and push on again.
Last 2 weeks disappointing.
Disappointing, yeah. I think the Dundalk game was kind of a one-off game for us. Really, it was a bad day at the office, I suppose. We never played. We let them have too much of the ball from the word go, and it was very disappointing. But saying that, then we came up against Pats obviously on Friday night, and while conceding the last minute like we did, was devastating at the time. But I thought in general in the first half, while they had a lot of the ball, we really had it under control. They didn't seem to threaten us too much. I think maybe after half time, then at a 15-minute spell where they dominated and they got the goal, So, but to come back to 2-2 and to be going into injury time, I think as the season goes on, those are things we can't let slip again. And I think we learn from that. I think last season probably there was a lot of that happening in as the season went on, and we've spoken about it since. We've dusted ourselves down now, and we're totally focused on Friday.
Liam, with Derry replacing their manager or sacking their manager, are you worried if that kind of bounce the teams get when they sack the manager and someone else comes in?
Absolutely. I think there was a lot of hassle up there. I think Peter Hutton, is taken over now from being at Derry for a year. There's a huge respect for Peter up there, and obviously the players will respond to that as well. So, but either way, we knew going into Friday, Derry shouldn't be where they are. And they'll be coming down to Cork knowing that they have to win, just like we know we have to win. So it should be a good game for everyone to see.
And getting back to Turner's Cross after 2 weeks on the road must be a boost for the squad.
Yeah, the crowds we've been getting this season have been fantastic. And when you step out at the Cross and you look around and you see 4,000 or 5,000 people there, there's no better feeling. And especially when you look at the players that we have, most of the squad is probably from Cork now. So I think it's a huge feeling of anticipation. You go out on the pitch, you know what you're playing for, and you don't want to let anybody down,
Personally, how happy have you been with your own form this season?
Yeah, I feel like, I've been steady. There's probably been games where I probably haven't been great. There's games where I played well. But, you go through a season, I think I look at the bigger picture now. If I'm not playing 1 week and I come on, the first thing I'll do is go to the young lad who's playing in his position, need to be added today. You need that kind of camaraderie within the squad. I think we have that, and I think everyone's fighting for each other because on paper, we're probably not the best team or best squad in the league, but that doesn't mean you don't win the league, or that doesn't mean you don't win things. If your attitude is right, then you have a great opportunity, great base to go and push on from there.
You're one of the more senior lads now as well, so a lot of the younger fellas must be looking up to you.
I don't know if they're looking up to me, probably looking down at me. But as I said, I'm pushing on now, 31. So as I said, there's a lot of 20, 21-year-olds in the squad, younger even again. And then, if I can give them any bit of advice, it's just I will do. And I suppose you kind of have to be the one then to speak up a bit more and to kind of get everyone's attitude before games right, But we've got a lot of leaders in the squad, even some of the young boys, you can tell which ones have that already, You get a lot of players have that in them anyway. So as I said, there's a good mix there.
Liam, when you compare yourself to the player you were in your first or second spell at the club, how would you evaluate it? Are you a bit wiser now, maybe? Or?
Yeah, as I said, I've been to Australia now as well, and I've played in a lot of different positions there, and I feel like obviously I'm probably not as quick as I would have been when I was younger, so you kind of have to adapt your game a little bit and probably be able to read the game a bit better now as well, and to find the little gaps in between players rather than staying out wide and being isolated with a fullback, But when you look at the likes of Lenny there coming down the wing after you probably don't have to do as much running with the ball yourself because he's got the pace, and same with Johnny Dunleavy as well. So we've got great pace within the squad, so you kind of release them.
And you played on the right a bit this season as well. How much do you have to adapt your game compared to when you're used to being on the left so often and stronger on the left foot?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose as you said, you got to work at it. You got to work in training. You got to put yourself in that position in training every day, so you know that when it comes to the Friday night, that when you are put in a different position, that you can, you know, do the job. And hopefully, I feel like I've done all right on the right or on the left. But when you look at the team, you got Billy Dennehy there, like, you know, top class, you know, player on the left wing. So, you know, when I heard Billy was signing, people might have said, "Oh, geez, it must have been like if he's signing him now." Like, I was like, "Geez, that's a great signing for the club."
Yeah.
You know, that's the way you have to look at it. You have to look at it and go, right, he's fantastic in that left wing position, and he's been brilliant for us this season. So, like, right, I can fit in somewhere else. So you kind of just, you know, get on with it.
And do you want to try and catch up to Billy in the goal scoring stakes?
Jesus, I don't know. Look, goal scoring for me, I've never been a big goal scorer. So, you know, if I can add in for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 a season, I'd be happy, as long as we know we have someone else banging them in, you know. So, luckily, Billy's been great for us. Marky's, like, you look through the squad, we've scored from a few different positions. So, as I said, as long as someone's doing the goal scoring, I'll be happy.
Liam Bryan has been called up to under-21s. You were in that position, say, 10 years ago. Would you have any kind of words of wisdom for him or encouragement? Make the most of it, I suppose.
Well, when I said there, we've got a lot of young players in the squad, you know. I think you look at Lenny and his head is firmly on his shoulders, you know. And like any of us, I think if John ever thought any of us was getting ahead of our station, then we'd be brought down to earth fairly quickly. So, you know, he's a great lad, and his attitude. He's probably the first in every morning when I come into training at 9 o'clock doing his exercises, you know, to keep on top of any little problems he has. So, like, he's the ultimate professional, and you know, his future is huge. And right now, it's great to have him in the squad.
You mentioned there just how the last of the 2 top clubs, let's say Dundalk and Pats. Do you think there's a kind of a more realistic outlook on the season ahead now for us, in terms of the support and the expectation around the club and that?
Well, look, we're Cork City. Do you know what I mean? The expectation comes with playing for Cork City. So, like, you know, we expect things from ourselves. And as I said, the Dundalk game, I think, was a one-off game where we probably didn't perform. I think Pats, we did perform. Obviously, giving away the late goal was disappointing, but I think people looking at it might think, well, we went up there and we did give a good performance. We were 1-0 up at half time, comfortable, I thought. Obviously, the second half went the way it was, but I think realistically looking at it, as I said, we're a young squad. We don't have as big a squad or the bigger budget as the likes of Dundalk and Pats have, but you know, we know ourselves, on our day we can compete with anyone.
You mentioned the crowds, Liam, in Turner's Cross. Does it give the visiting teams a boost as well? I mean, Derry now coming Friday night, they've been playing in front of literally handfuls, which is unusual for Derry.
Yeah,
I think that'll give them a...
Yeah, look, any club that comes down and plays at the Cross knows like that's the big game to come down to. I mean, we played Limerick there and Waterford, even Waterford, you know, like, that's a huge game for them. So boys that mightn't have played turned around and said, right, this is Cork City, we're coming down playing in front of a big crowd. So it gets every team up to come down and play us. But for us coming out knowing that the majority are supporting us, like, no, there's no better feeling.
Do you have any regrets on missing out on an intermediate cup maybe with Avondale?
Well, I went to the game, you know, and obviously I know the boys very well now from being there and stuff. But yeah, look, I'm 31 now. Hopefully down the line I might get another opportunity to do that. But no, I was delighted for the boys, and they, to be fair, they won it very easily in the end.
That kind of puts that in the box.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you said already, you have plans to get people in during the July window.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Look, it's an unfortunate situation. A lot of time, energy, work, money went into sort of bringing Anthony into down, and Timmy Murphy put a lot of time into it as well at the start, trying to get houses and get his family settled. And you know, from in January we even gave him time off at the start to see could he settled in. But look, it was quite obvious and quite that it wasn't working out. And I think when you look at the performances against Drogheda and the performances against Waterford last Monday, it was quite obvious that he didn't want to he didn't want to be here, and he was unsettled. And it's a good scenario. It's a good situation for both of us because he can move on. We certainly can move on, and obviously gives us an opportunity to look at bringing some guys in July.
And Jerry, Friday night without Roddy, but probably with a bit of a bounce, as we said earlier, with Peter Hutton, who was Jerry through and through, taking over the team. And there's always great rivalry between the two cities.
Absolutely, and I suppose it's probably the boost that Derry want. There's Roddy, I know Roddy a long time. I get on quite well with him actually, but obviously there were.
The minority there, go on.
Well, it's fair to the man. He never did anything against me, so I've no gripe. But at the same time, he obviously there seems to have been hassle there, and there was player unrest and whatever. I don't know the ins and outs, but the one thing certainly come Friday night, it's obviously after, when a manager is sacked or goes from a club, there's always an instant kick, and for us, we just, we have to prepare as we've done all along. And I suppose I'm passionately appealing to the crowd for Friday night to come out in the huge numbers. The crowds this season have been fantastic, but we really need the crowd Friday night. We need them coming out early. We need to come out in huge numbers. We're still hanging in there. We've had a difficult couple of weeks, but at the same time, it's vital for us to get back on track and win on Friday night. And the fact that Derry have Peter taking charge, and he's a Derry lad, is going to give them new impetus. And the players certainly who haven't been in Roddy's team or weren't in the Derry team all along, they're certainly going to go with a point to prove. And it's a very, very difficult game, and we just have to be in top form.
After going so long unbeaten and then having 2 league defeats on the bounce, how did the squad react to that? How do you pick them up ahead of the game on Friday?
Yeah, it's I keep saying, your character has to come out. Dundalk was a desperately disappointing night because we were blown off the pitch, and they gave us a hammer, and look, we had to take it on the chin. St. Pat's was a different situation where we played very well, we made some mistakes, but at the same time, when we look back and analyse the game, twice after playing St. Pat's, they won the league last year. They have a very experienced team. They're an exceptionally good team, but on both occasions we've been there with them, and it's just gutting to concede a last minute goal. But at the same time, we can't feel sorry for ourselves. I believe I have a bunch of guys that aren't like that. I believe we have a bunch of guys, I see it every day, who are a fantastic attitude. I keep saying this, but we have to bounce back. And we have to hang in there. There's a few games to the break, and we have to make sure that after the break that we're still in the mix. And there's a danger that if you feel sorry for yourself, you'll drift away. So I don't believe we will. I think our performance last Friday night showed we've tremendous character. The one thing we have to try and get back to is keeping clean sheets, which we haven't done the last 2 weeks. And we're doing a lot of work this week, and hopefully we can get back to a clean sheet and get the points. And if we finish strongly in the running before the mid-season break, it will set us up well afterwards. But like I say, every week, every game is difficult, and obviously it's going to be even bigger Friday night, the fact that Peter Hutton is coming down in charge of Derry.
Slightly off topic, were you happy enough with the FA Cup draw?
I was. There's no point in saying otherwise. You hear talk about draws that you have to beat the best team to win the cup. Look at from the position I'm in, and the crucial thing for us on it, Rory, is that the game is coming. We've a lot of midweek games, you see. So we've not up to the mid-season break. We're playing 3 games a week now. So to draw on another Premiership team or a Premier team, in the cup, whereas at least we have a home draw. It's a non-league side. They're out of season. Obviously you have to show them respect, but at the same time, we are at a totally higher level, and you have to just show that. And when that game come about, we just have to prepare properly for it. But at the same time, it is a draw that you expect to get through, and let's not kid about it. We are.
I know you only take every game as it comes, but the fact the draw worked out, you're going to end up with 4 non-league teams in the last 16 as well. It really is a great opportunity to get to a quarter final.
Well, look at.
I know
I'm not even. Look at. To be fair, when I was in charge of Avondale, when Avondale won the first intermediate cup, on the cup run, we actually went away to St. Marcus, and Mark O'Sullivan, funny enough, actually scored a hat-trick, and we beat St. Marcus 3-0. That was in 2006, and there were lovely people and a lovely club, and a hard-working, very strong non-league club around Dublin. So look at, we give respect when it comes, and that's a bit away yet. We've a lot of big games before then.
John, is there any bit of injury news for Derry?
Darren Murphy's out.
Still out.
Darren Murphy's out, and Colin hopefully will be okay. He wasn't 100% last Friday, but we took a risk and took a chance of him, and he's still on treatment, but we expect him to be okay. But other than that, everyone else seems to be okay. And Danny Morrissey thankfully came back training last week, and he took part in the first contact today, which you could see he's still a long way off, but at least it was good to have him about. It was good to have him running around the place, and the atmosphere was good. The fact that he was back, and the lads were all looking forward. The fact that he was, I suppose maybe the fact that we were trying to give him a kick as well. So, but it was good. Yeah.
The back five, John, had been so good in the unbeaten run. I presume there was disappointment among themselves. 7 goals in the last 2 games. I know they were away from home, but
yeah, well, sure, we'd gone away from home. We hadn't conceded.
That's right.
We hadn't conceded away to Derry, away to Athlone, away to UCD. So, yes, it was. I suppose the disappointing thing. I don't want to dwell too much on Dundalk because I put that down as a bad day, and we just didn't. But I suppose the difficulty in the past was that we did concede a couple of soft goals, and and obviously then the penalty, which was, I suppose in fairness to Brian Kerr, at least he had the honesty last night to say that he thought it wasn't a penalty, whereas we felt it wasn't. But at the same time, that has been disappointing. The lads know themselves, and but still, it's important that, as I keep saying, you bounce back. You get back your concentration, back your focus, and all that matters is Friday night, and crucial for us is that we have to try and get back winning and keep up there.
That penalty, was the break that went against G, the goal against Bo, was the same. Do you think that these things even themselves out over the season, or do you think maybe we're kind of going through a run of bad luck?
Well, or the day Gary Buckley was knocked out, and there's a situation like that. To be honest with you, I suppose I'm around so long, I believe things will work themselves out. Maybe I'm a bit over optimistic, but I suppose you have to believe that you can't believe that there's circumstances militating against you. But at the same time, I think they do come around, and we've been small bit unlucky. But look at the same time, we're still in a very, very strong position. There has been a little bit of doom and gloom out there. At the same time, we're in a very strong position. We have huge games coming up, and it's within our control to keep ourselves in there. And I believe that if we can keep ourselves in there until the break, when the second half of the season comes in, then you're in a new league, then a new fight. But the danger at the moment is that you can fall away, and that's what we don't want to do. And it's crucial for us that we get back. And after you lose a couple of games, people begin to question: is this right? Is that right? But at the same time, the same 11 who took the pitch on Friday night was the same 11 who took the pitch for most of the first 8 or 9 games, and so and I'm quite happy that some guys lose a bit of form, some guys have a few knocks, but overall I keep saying the attitude has been good. Yes, we need to strengthen the panel up. We all know that if we want to stay in contention, and but at the same time, we still have a fantastic group outside there.
We asked you last week about transfer targets and whatever, and you said the centre forward was a probability. Is it a certainty now at this stage that will be at least one striker come in?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I suppose you're talking to loads and loads of people, and you're talking to people that are coming back from everywhere. There's people come back from England, people come back from Scotland, people even from the States.
Yeah.
This guy's agents on from further afield trying to sing us over to you. The crucial thing what I have to do is make sure that the persons and the people that we bring in can mix in with the club, with the crowd, the team that we have, and they can add something to us and be as and come in and basically, rather than be a squad player, can actually enhance the team.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. And I keep saying, like last weekend, people were saying to me, is it time to throw young Lehan in? Rob Lehan hasn't started one first team match. He's I think he played against Douglas Hall. And that day, unfortunately for him, he didn't do very well.
Yeah.
Because this, at the same time, there's a big difference as a young player coming on with half an hour to go and starting a match. And he's come from under 19. He's come from UCC. Fantastic player, done brilliantly for us. He's been in the middle of his exams for the last 3 weeks. He's missed an awful lot of training, but he's a fantastic finisher and is going to be an outstanding player for us. But to ask him to go in, in the top matches at the moment, Rob has an awful lot to learn. But the one thing with him is that he's training very hard. He's a great finisher. We work a lot on his speed, getting him stronger, and he would be a brilliant player for us. But you have to be careful. It's easy to say throw these guys in and you throw them in, and maybe they play 2 or 3 games, don't get a kick of the ball, you knock their confidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we, so it's a bit like that. So we have a lot of young guys that you have to be careful with them, but at the same time, well, we will be bringing players in. We will be bringing forward players in because it's obviously an area that we need. It's particularly up front, particularly wide players. So they're really, I suppose, the type of players that we're talking to at the moment. And there's a lot of interest. There's loads of players who want to come to Cork City, but you have to make sure that one, that they can play for the club. 2, that they're passionate to play for the club. 3, that they're not injured. And I suppose 4, that they have the mentality that they want to mix into the type of players that we have. And I think it's an absolute fantastic squad that I think loads of players would love coming into us, but we just have to make sure that we can get them and get the right fellas. And as well as that, then you always come across a lot of players who are playing a bit of trickery. You know what I mean? They're telling you one thing and they're telling the other 10 clubs they're talking to the same thing, and and unfortunately, so you can't sign a fella tomorrow. You have to wait till July. So it gives all these players a lot of time to negotiate, and you just have to be, from that point of view. But look, the thing is, we've been working flat out. I've been working flat out. I've been in contact with several players. I've met several players even in the last 6-7 days, and and that's going to be ongoing. And it's just trying to get what we believe is the right couple of guys that'll come in to enhance it. But until then, we still have huge matches, and obviously Friday night we're expecting and hoping that with a huge crowd behind us that we can get the bounce back.
Is the surprise Cork City element of the season, are people cottoning on now? They realise you are a good team, you've got strong squad. It was a surprise to everybody, including ourselves, I'd say, to be dead honest about it, to be unbeaten in the first 9 games.
Yeah, well, I'd say what's after happening is that you're probably, I suppose it's a situation, and I keep saying this, is that we've played for a couple of seasons in mid-table, and when you end up playing mid-table games as a mid-table team, then in lots of ways, you end up playing a top team, you raise your game for that, and then the next week you lose, and the following week you draw and whatever. When you're top of the table, every week the pressure is massive, because the team that's down in mid-table, the team that's down near the bottom, when they come to you, they want to show how good they are. And I suppose the fact that we've been up at the top, we've shown the other sides who are coming to us now having a cut off us, like they'd have a cut off Dundalk or they'd have a cut off St. Pat's. What our players haven't been experienced being at the top, being under pressure week after week, and that's a learning experience. And while Colin Healy, Mark McNulty, Liam Carney, Dan Murray would be used to it, look at all the rest of the lads. They've been with the club the last 2-3 years. They've come from 19s. None of them have. This season has been the biggest attendances they've ever played in. Okay, they've never been in this position, and ultimately that puts extra pressure on them. And plus the fact, I suppose, at times we're all human. They're reading the paper, they're hearing radio about themselves, how great they are, and sometimes you might take one of your legs off the ground, and these things happen. So it's a bit of learning. But to be fair, I think it's been that I think maybe some of the mistakes we made last week, we probably wouldn't have made them 4 weeks ago. But it's probably been a wake up call, and but at the same time, we've discussed it, we've gone through the video analysis. The guys have seen where we made mistakes. They've seen situations where we haven't defended well, and all you can do when you go through those situations is hopefully show them the situation and say, look at how can we prevent this next week or the week after. And if they learn from that, you're progressing. If they don't learn from that, well then you have a decision to make.
Right. Thanks, Emil.